breaking free from the financial wheel of debt slavery. Stable structures, shaking times. We are the architects of time. Premise for all subscribers. One of the things I love most is diving into charts, connecting historical events, exploring the past, and gazing into the future. Beyond patterns, I see archetypes and their deeper meaning. From the Revolutionary War to the upheavals of the 20th century and into the transformative potential of 2028, I am uncovering cycles shaping our financial system. Through human design and evolutionary astrology, I focus on Uranus, the archetype of revolution, innovation, trauma, and the drive to break free from outdated systems. This article explores the cyclical nature of history through Uranus' transformative energy. Known as the planet of revolution and liberation, Uranus represents moments when humanity faces choices between dependency and sovereignty. Its disruptive energy interacts with human design gates, unlocking specific potentials within cycles of history and personal evolution. As Jeffrey Wolf Green teaches, Uranus governs trauma through sudden, unexpected changes that shatter Saturnian limitations. These events force adaptation and evolution, clearing the path for liberation and higher purpose. Uranus-driven shifts connect trauma, Bitcoin, and revolution, symbolizing a collective break from old systems toward greater freedom and sovereignty. Notably, gates 60, 41, 19, 49, 13, and 30, all in Aquarius, amplify these themes by embodying energies of limitation, initiation, sensitivity, revolution, introspection, and emotional intensity. I interpret the energies of the portals to decipher key historical and future events: the American Revolution of 1776, the Federal Reserve inception 1913, the Bretton Woods Agreement 1944, Nixon's shock 1971, Bitcoin's Genesis block 2009, Uranus return to the USA Constitution chart 2027, and the annular solar eclipse of 2028. These alignments reveal opportunities for profound transformation, emphasizing the need to align with sound money, embracing Bitcoin as the hardest money ever known, and recognizing it as the Promethean tool for awakening our path to a creative and liberated future. The new moon in Capricorn on December 30th, 2024, marks a starting point for understanding how we can build lasting structures in a rapidly changing world. By tracing these cycles, we uncover how Uranus, alongside Pluto and Mars, shapes the revolutionary energies and influencing our future. Quote, Prometheus steals the potential of consciousness from the gods, the divine spark of immortality, of awareness of the self which exists within each human being. This Green. End of quote. The scope of the following article is to highlight Uranus as a driving force in future events. Newsletters from 2025 onward, I will layer the Neptune-Saturn cycle and how it is shattering the reality of what we once knew as real. I will also integrate the Jupiter-Saturn synodic cycle, which occurs every 20 years. And we are already at a quarter of the way through the current cycle that began in December 2020. If this resonates, please subscribe to my newsletter, buy my book, book a reading, or join the study group to receive a free subscription to unlock all this educational information. Do not get overwhelmed with this information. Let me guide you. Allow your intuition and instincts to connect with what you already know deep within. I'm simply a mirror for your path. Enjoy. After the paywall. Stable structures, shaking times, time cycles, Uranus and disruption. Responsibility of liberation, human action. The fiery opposition of Pluto and Mars in dialogue. Bitcoin and the Promethean fire. Exploring 2027, potential gate activations. On the eclipse of January 26, 2028, contrast to the American Revolution, individual preparation, evolution versus involution. Okay, if you're curious about how to apply these insights to your personal life, I am facilitating Deciphering, a 4.5-month study group twice a month, exploring how to break free from cycles and empower individual transformation using archetypes and historical cycles. I'll share all the details in a separate newsletter before the new year. Links: subscriptions, pay in bulk and save, or buy my book in all formats and bundles, on sale until the last day of this year. Two, evolutionary astrology and human design readings, mentorships, and study groups. Third, I facilitate small groups of one on one Bitcoin study groups for newbies, young adults, or teenagers, or even older people like you and me, both in Spanish and English. Quote: Human design allows us to make decisions aligned with the energy available during planetary transits and the unique energy shaping our bodies. Evolutionary astrology provides a broader view, showcasing the landscape of what's unfolding. Together, they form a dynamic interplay. Evolutionary astrology sets the stage, while human design activates these energies, enabling wise, individualized decisions that honor our own authenticity. To integrate Uranus, Aquarius, or the 11th house, we must consider its opposition, the Sun, Leo, or the 5th house. The Sun illuminates what needs to be seen, bringing joy and validating the presence of the individual. It reminds us to embrace the disruptions, independence, and even the trauma that Uranus brings, but to do so with authenticity and grounding. This process is not about narcissism, but about embodying joy and truth in our own actions. As we navigate these energies, it becomes clear how shadows have led to disembodiment and misalignment, and how integrating light brings clarity, alignment, and authentic progress. Stable structures, shaking times. A new moon initiates 2024's final act. As the year closes on December 30th, 2024, we are graced with a new moon in Capricorn, a sign deeply tied to structure, discipline, maturation, and legacy. Yet, this new moon feels different. Pluto has exited Capricorn and moved into Aquarius for the first time in over 16 years. This shift signals an era where foundational change is no longer about tearing down the old but building something enduring. Capricorn's wisdom reminds us to use strategy, effort, and discipline. This energy helps create structures, personal, professional, and communal, that stand the test of time. However, as Saturn continues its journey through Pisces, squaring Jupiter, this square often asks us to balance expansive ideals with pragmatic action, urging us to build with intention rather than overreach or underplan. The question becomes, are you dreaming too big or thinking too small to achieve sustainable growth? This new moon invites you to find balance and clarity before the fast paced energy of 2025 begins. What structures in your life feel steady for renewal, and how will you ensure they're built to last? In the article, there's an image with the body graph and the gates and the constellations, and it says authenticity is a frequency. You either resonate or you don't. Ra Uruhu, the human design system, the mechanics of the Maya. You are designed to be exactly who you are. Ra Uruhu, the definite book of the human design. The caption reads, a page from my book, The Nature of My Reality, with 3 channels highlighted specifically for the purpose of this article. Time cycles, Uranus and the Promethean fire. American Revolution, July 4th, 1776. What was the American Revolution about? On the surface, it was about liberation from the British monarchy, taxation without representation, and the right to self-governance. But dig deeper, and you'll find it was also about resisting the economic control of the British Crown, which included trade restrictions and monetary policies tied to the British interests. The Declaration of Independence marked a new beginning, influenced by Uranus at 8 degrees of Gemini, gate 16, enthusiasm. This collective logical gate represents experimentation, creativity, and the courage to try something new. The American Revolution broke away from monarchy, creating an innovative system of governance. The shadow of the Gate 16 is the overcompensation and perfectionism. While the revolution succeeded in establishing independence, it also laid the groundwork for future systematic challenges, and controls. This Gates energy cultivated a willingness to innovate and break from tradition, leading to the Declaration of Independence and the creation of an entirely new model of governance. Federal Reserve Act, December 23rd, 1913. By then, the governance experiment had shifted. The Federal Reserve Act wasn't about liberation, it was about control. Legislation passed by the Congress and Washington, D.C. established centralized monetary policy. Although critical planning occurred in the secret meetings at Jekyll Island, Georgia, the act was signed into law by President Woodrow Wilson. Uranus at 2 degrees Aquarius activated Gate 41 contraction. This collective abstract gate initiates cycles, sparking imagination and new beginnings with expectations. Instead of initiating progress for the collective, this cycle trapped the world in speculative booms and busts tied to a fiat system controlled by a few private bankers. Let's be clear, the Federal Reserve wasn't designed to serve the people. It was designed to serve the banks, creating cycles of debt that kept nations and individuals dependent. The Federal Reserve Act marked a financial shift, but its shadow unfulfilled potential led to cycles of economic dependency. How often do imaginative beginnings fail to fulfill their promise, and what lessons can we draw from this moment in financial history? Bretton Woods Agreement, July 1944. With the world still at war, the United States brought together delegates from 44 allied nations to establish the Bretton Woods Agreement. This decision established the US dollar as the backbone of the global financial system, granting it immense power while embedding vulnerabilities into the global economy. The conference was held in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, and concluded with the signing of the agreement on July 22, 1944. During the conference, Uranus was at 9 degrees Gemini, activating Gate 35, progress. This gate symbolizes transformation and the promise of improvement, but its shadow, superficial progress, warns of changes that lack depth or foresight, as seen in the system's reliance on gold reserves. This gate, paired with Gate 5, symbolizes the balance between transformation and rhythm, but the world chose restlessness over sustainability. The Bretton Woods Agreement established the US dollar as the global reserve currency pegged to gold, while other currencies were pegged to the dollar. It seemed stable, but it wasn't. By tying global finance to the US dollar, the agreement created an illusion of stability but an inherently fragile system. The delegates spent 3 weeks deliberating and establishing rules, institutions, and procedures to regulate the international monetary system. This included the creation of the International Monetary Fund (IMF) and the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, the IBRD. The IMF was formally established on December 27, 1945, when 29 countries signed its Articles of Agreement following the Bretton Woods Conference. It began operations on March 1, 1947, with responsibilities including oversight of exchange rate adjustments above 10%, monetary policy advice, and lending reserves to countries facing balance of payment challenges. As a keeper of monetary rules, it was meant to start a new era of global financial stability and cooperation. Astrologically, Uranus in Gate 45, the gatherer, symbolized leadership and the potential for equitable stewardship. However, its shadow warned of dominion and control, which ultimately hindered collaboration. Neptune in Gate 48, the death, reflected struggles with decisiveness, leading to superficial solutions. The 48-16 channel failed to achieve mastery, and Mercury in Gate 36, crisis, perpetuated cycles of turmoil instead of resolving them. Despite this promise, the IMF fell into the shadow expressions of these gates. It prioritized control over collaboration, superficial policies over sustainable solutions, and reactionary measures over proactive mastery. Rather than fulfilling its mission of global economic stability, it reinforced systems of dependency and inequality, veering away from the transformative potential envisioned at its creation. Particularly troubling are IMF loans to developing countries that require surrendering control over natural resources while implementing harsh austerity measures. This creates a cycle where nations move from crisis to crisis, trapped in perpetual debt while losing sovereignty over their economic decisions and natural wealth. What a plan. Nixon shock. August 15, 1971. President Richard Nixon ended the Brentwood system by suspending US dollar convertibility into gold, transitioning the world to fiat currency. Uranus was at 10 degrees of Libra, activated gaze 48. We keep on seeing this gate, right? Symbolizing death and mastery. However, instead of addressing underlying economic insecurities and creating sustainable solutions, the US government doubled down on fiat currency, the shadow of gate 48. Fear of inadequacy manifested as avoidance, severing the dollar from gold without a comprehensive plan for long term stability. Read that again. Without a comprehensive plan for long term stability. This decision marked a pivotal shift in global economics, paving the way for the cycles of inflation, credit expansion, and debt that define the modern economy. With US gold reserves depleted from the Vietnam War and European nations, particularly France, demanding gold redemptions, the strain became unsustainable. Rather than face these mounting pressures and structural challenges, the US tyrannically rewrote the rules of the global monetary system. Moreover, the gold owed to the European nation was never returned. Thieves! Solidifying distrust and marking the end of a gold backed monetary agreement. This decision marked the dawn of financial volatility and entrenched global dependency on fiat currency. Guess why the euro was born? After Nixon severed the dollar's link to gold in 1971, the fiat standard fully emerged as a monetary system built on trust but inherently deceitful. Detached from intrinsic value, it thrives on illusion. Governments and central banks can print unlimited money, eroding purchasing power while pretending to sustain economic stability. This system masks inflation as growth, traps nations and individuals in endless cycles of debt, and enriches the elite at the expense of the masses. It centralizes control, enabling surveillance, confiscation, and coercion under the guise of financial security. Deceptively sold as progress, the fiat standard perpetuates inequality, instability, and dependency, all while dismantling the very trust it claims to uphold. Bitcoin Genesis block, January 3rd, 2009, at 6:15 p.m. Universal Time Central. Satoshi Nakamoto mined a Genesis block. Embedded within was the message. The Times, January 3rd, 2009, Chancellor on the brink of the second bailout for banks. This moment marked the birth of Bitcoin, a decentralized financial system challenging the centralized control that had dominated for decades. Astrologically, Uranus in gate 22, line 3, grace, represents the power to transform chaos into harmony with elegance and integrity. This energy reflects Bitcoin's emergence during the 2008 financial collapse, providing a calm yet revolutionary response to systematic failure. Neptune in gate 49.4, revolution, signifies the dismantling of outdated structures and the rise of transformative solutions aligned with higher principles. This placement underscores Bitcoin's role in ending reliance on fiat systems and establishing financial sovereignty. These gates and lines embody Bitcoin's revolutionary essence, transforming turmoil into wisdom and laying a foundation for fairness, transparency, and individual empowerment. Bitcoin thrives on the chaos it seeks to resolve, inviting a new paradigm of decentralized freedom. July 2027, the new revolution. A new monetary standard of sound money? I don't know. Uranus returns to 8 degrees of Gemini, reactivating gate 16. This alignment echoes the American Revolution and Brentwood Woods. Notice that Uranus takes 83 or 84 years to do a cycle around the sun. It offers an opportunity to either repeat past mistakes or build a more sustainable system. What's more, Pluto in Aquarius will align with Uranus in 1913 position, transforming the very foundation of the Federal Reserve's system at gate 41. Remember, Pluto is all about transformation, so that's going to be fun. By 2027, hyper Bitcoinization is no longer a vision, it is here now. Not only do individuals see Bitcoin's value over time, but governments and major corporations are finally acknowledging its rightful place in history. This is not a coincidence. The revolution isn't coming, it is here already. The annular eclipse on January 26, 2028. This eclipse marks a profound moment of transformation, both collectively and personally. Pluto's conjunction with the US South Node at 6 degrees of Aquarius signals a karmic reckoning, compelling the nation to confront and release entrenched power structures and outdated historical patterns. This alignment demands accountability and evolution, opening the door to systemic change. At the same time, Pluto aligns with Bitcoin's North Node, Gate 193, highlighting a revolutionary shift towards decentralization, resource independence, and collective empowerment. As the USA faces its reckoning, Bitcoin steps fully into its own evolutionary purpose, offering a vision for financial sovereignty and freedom. Note that Bitcoin will have its first nodal return, which occurs every 18.6 years in mid 2027. For Bitcoin, this marks a time of reflection, transformation, or alignment with its foundational purpose and trajectory. Themes tied to destiny and collective evolution come into focus. In Bitcoin's case, this could be a period where its role in financial systems or its evolutionary path is redefined or highlighted globally. Together, this alignment symbolizes a pivotal moment in the unfolding transformation of global systems. At the heart of the eclipse, the Sun, the Moon, North Node, and Pluto converge at gate 41, symbolizing new cycles and imaginative beginnings. This potent energy signifies the breaking of all limitations and the initiation of transformative paths forward. Further amplifying the moment, Jupiter in Gate 6 emphasizes the importance of resolving conflict through diplomacy and emotional intelligence. Saturn in Gate 42 underscores the need for closure and the wisdom gained from completing cycles of growth. Uranus in Gate 16 inspires innovative expression and the courage to embrace new directions. For me, this eclipse marks a deeply personal turning point. Pluto crossing my ascendant signifies a profound rebirth, marking the culmination of years of dedicated inner work and transformation. At the same time, Saturn's conjunction with my natal Mars highlights the integration of discipline and action, empowering me to move forward with renewed clarity and resolve. This date also carries unique significance for me, revealed during meditation as a sequence of numbers. Adding 1440 days to February 14, 2024, when I received the message, brings us to January 26, 2028, while subtracting 1440 leads to March 8, 2020, both meaningful milestones in my journey. As the eclipse unfolds, it reshapes the collective and heralds a profound new beginning for me, aligning with energies and personal and global evolution. Now there's a chart here of Bitcoin Genesis block. This is a body graph, and you can see some stuff that if you don't know anything about human design, you're going to go, what is that? So I just leave it there for you to look at it and come back to it while you read what I'm doing. So in this chart, Bitcoin is an emotional manifestor. So it's just initiating new change. Bitcoin's mission, aligned with the juxtaposition cross of opposition 4, centers on preserving individual integrity by resisting external influence. It challenges centralized systems, forging an alternative path that inspires sovereignty and independence. With intuitive resilience, Bitcoin navigates challenges, confronting them courageously. Responsibility of liberation, human action. In the human design system, Hu, the founder of this paradigm, identified 2027 as a transformative turning point in humanity's collective trajectory. As Ra stated, the future is not about reliance on the external, it is about awakening the individual, living true to their design, and creating a world from that foundation. This shift marks a profound change in how we organize ourselves as species, emphasizing individual empowerment over reliance on traditional systems. Uranus invites us to challenge outdated paradigms. Where in your life, personal, financial, or societal, might you still be holding on to systems that no longer serve your growth? Sovereignty begins with honest self inquiry. The revolution sparked by Bitcoin goes beyond finance or eliminating fiat. It's about the choices we make as individuals. True sovereignty isn't granted by systems, it's earned through personal responsibility. Bitcoin, a Promethean tool, aligns with the energy of the sleeping phoenix cycle, offering the power to confront what prevents us from living authentically and freely. If we align with the wisdom of the Gate 5 rhythm, the Gate 6 resolution, and the Gate 16 creativity, we can build a world that honors collaboration, accountability, and freedom. But the work begins with individuals. The choice is simple: will you remain a dead slave or will you reclaim the Promethean fire? As Ludwig von Mises from Austrian economics explained, human action is purposeful behavior, or we may say action is will put into operation and transform into agency, aiming at ends and goals. Human design serves as a practical tool for making individual decisions align with one's unique design, while praxeology, rooted in logical deduction, guides strategic planning with a low time preference. Both systems emphasize the importance of intentional and well considered choices, whether personal or economic. But as Mrs. said, every decision is an economic one. By 2025 and 2026, Pluto in Aquarius, Uranus in Gemini, and Neptune and Saturn in Aries will signal significant shifts in energetic influence. These shifts represent a collective elevation to the new frequencies, laying the groundwork for profound societal and personal change. This period also coincides with the conclusion of the Cross of Planning, 1615 until 2027, a global cycle rooted in structured systems, cooperative agreements, and external reliance. We have seen all these institutions fail. In its place emerges the cross of Sleeping Phoenix, bringing an era defined by individuality, self reliance, and empowerment. This shift challenges us to adapt to a world where the focus moves away from external systems towards cultivating sovereignty and personal responsibility. The fiery opposition, Pluto and Mars in dialogue. Currently, Pluto and Mars are in their second opposition between Leo and Aquarius. This alignment highlights the tension between individuality, Mars in Leo, and collective responsibility, Pluto in Aquarius. Mars in Leo says, I need to express my creativity and validate myself. Pluto in Aquarius says, but your creativity must serve something greater than yourself. This dynamic pushes us to reconcile personal ambition with collective contribution, echoing themes of Gate 29, that is commitment, and Gate 41, contraction. How do you balance personal creativity with serving a greater purpose? Do you see this tension in your own life? The final opposition on April 26, 2025 coincides with my solar return and amplifies these energies, challenging us to align our creative fire with accountability and sustainability. Bitcoin's nodal axis mirrors this cosmic dialogue. Its north node at 19 line 3 in Aquarius represents the drive for collective empowerment, resource sharing, and the decentralization of control. The south node at 33 line 3 in Leo reminds us of the lessons of individual expression and leadership. This axis underscores Bitcoin's role as a Promethean tool, bringing fire, knowledge, and liberation to humanity while demanding responsibility and sovereignty from its users. The interplay of these nodes reflect the balance that we must achieve, drawing on the creative fire of the Leo South Node to inspire action, but channeling and through the Aquarius North Node to build systems that benefit the collective. Bitcoin is a direct response to outdated systems that prioritize power consolidation over empowerment. It challenges us to embrace decentralization as a means of cultivating freedom and collaboration. My solar return on April 26, 2025, during this Mars Pluto opposition, marks a culmination of dedication and wisdom. The gates activated in my chart, 41.2 and 31.2 and 36, reflect the call to transform chaos into stability and turn emotional crisis into tangible success. The moon and Chiron in gate 42 bring the healing and closure of old cycles while opening the door for growth. Jupiter in gate 45, aligning with my natal Venus, emphasizes wealth creation that benefits both myself and others. This reflects Bitcoin's potential to generate abundance by deepening one's relationship with value, time, and encouraging collaboration when approached with intention and responsibility. A new era of accountability. As we transition into 2025 and beyond, I see how without strong foundations, these shifts could lead to instability. The astrology of this period challenges to balance innovation with sustainability, using the lessons of Uranus, Pluto, and Mars to build a freer, more collaborative future. Bitcoin, Uranus, and the gates of human design provide a roadmap for this era. They push you to embrace decentralization, accountability, and creativity, crafting structures that honor your own authentic harmony. As 2027 approaches, I ask you, how will you embrace the sovereignty that decentralization offers? Are you ready to take accountability for your financial, health, mental, emotional, and social choices? Peace relies on sound money. As we approach 2027 and beyond, the unfolding patterns highlight a profound opportunity for transformation. Uranus in gate 16 and pivotal activations of gate 41 and 36 and 48 remind us of the collective potential to innovate and evolve beyond superficial progress. These gates call us to embrace responsibility and sovereignty while breaking free from historical cycles of inadequacy. The eclipse on January 26, 28 converges powerful energies, especially in Gate 41, the spark of imagination and the seed of transformation. This alignment asks us to release outdated patterns and move towards higher consciousness. It's not just about revolution, it's about refinement. It's a moment to prepare for evolution, both individually and collectively. By 2028, one will imagine that many individuals have adopted the Bitcoin standard. The benefits of sound money are increasingly evident due to its decentralization, which eliminates inflationary cycles and systematic theft inherent in previous fiat systems. Trusting in individual accountability, voluntary collaboration becomes a driving force, fueling innovation and cultivating a life thriving in creativity and productivity. Peace, the ultimate outcome, relies on the harness of money and the foundation for sustainable progress. How will you align your actions with evolution rather than involution? What structures are you creating to ensure a liberated and sustainable future? Is your money safe? Have a happy new year! And happy birthday to Bitcoin on January 3rd. I may right before the end of the year, but it's not a promise. Take care. Thank you so much, 2024. This year has been a banger.